which I developed a Power BI report on some emergency services data for our Power BI Challenge 14 at Enterprise DNA. So this is just part 2, and I'm basically gonna set off from where I finished last time, but talk you through some of these other considerations that I've had in between when I've developed one versus the other. Now, just as a bit of info, the challenge is actually still running. So if you are watching this, or if you're looking at this at a later point, you can still get involved in the challenge. So definitely check out Enterprise DNA's forum, where we hold all of these initiatives, and get involved. We've had a huge amount of interest, a huge amount of participation, and there's just so much to learn from collaborating with everyone else who's participated. So I'm going to try and finish as much as I can in about 45 minutes here. I spent an hour last time sort of setting up the model and stuff, so I don't want to do that for too much longer. In this particular one, I really want to jump into maybe the visualization, seeing if we can get some interesting insights. But I've also realized that I overcomplicated a few things last time. And so I'm going to make it a lot simpler and a lot easier to understand this time around, or at least get the insights that I want. So that's ultimately what it comes down to. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen here. Give me a second. Oh, I already was. Great. Okay, so just as an aside, if you do want to, what I usually do during these sessions is I'm giving away a free membership to anyone who comments and subscribes to this particular video. So definitely give that a whirl if you are not subscribed yet. We're producing some of the most practical content out there in Power BI, so definitely want to get you involved in our membership and our community as much as we possibly can. So all you can do is subscribe, leave a comment, and we'll make the draw within a week, and we'll announce it on this particular video. Okay, so let's jump into it. Now, as I mentioned last time, I overcomplicated it, and what I basically did was I extracted the hour and the minutes out of every single column here, and my realization was I didn't actually really need to do that. So I did spend a bit of time on that, which is a little bit annoying, but that's okay. Instead of doing that, what I'm going to do is this, okay? So what I realized is that I need to create some custom columns here. And this is going to produce information which I'm going to use within my visualizations, okay? So I'm just going to call these time difference, okay? I'm going to create a few of these actually. I'm going to go by departure and arrival. Departure, actually we'll call it patient. Arrival, departure to patient. And then what we can do is we can do this. We can just double click these column names, or these column names, right? And then what it does is it brings us the amount of time, so the minutes and the seconds, etc. And then what I can do inside of here is I can go transform, and I can go and grab the total seconds. Okay, and so what's going to be great here is this is giving me a number of seconds, right? And then I can actually turn these seconds into whatever calculation I want, minutes or hours, based on just some simple logic and say a DAX formula, for example, right? And then this is going to be able to show me, okay, well, how efficient was the ambulance in terms of getting to the particular patient. And we can run averages and so on and so forth. So this is a much better way to get that data out, like instead of extracting the hour and the minute from every single column. Okay, and so what I can do is here is I can create another one where we want to go from patient to hospital, right? So patient to hospital. So I'm going to add another column, and these are I should have realized this a little bit earlier. This is actually pretty straightforward stuff, right? So patient to hospital, and then I'm going to find these. So I'm going to go arrival time patient minus departure time. No, it's not departure time. We'll go once they arrive at the patient. This needs to be arrival time here, and then we want to go to patient there. Okay, and then I can go transform again, and I'm going to go total seconds, right? And then the last one, I'll create another one quickly, where we go to complete time. So time difference hospital to complete. Okay. So this now gives us a whole lot of information that we could slice and dice in many different ways with the model that we've created. Okay. So then I'm going to just come back here. And what I am going to do, though, is that I don't really need these times so much. The only time that I probably want to extract is this. Okay, so I can be a bit more selective on the time. So maybe I can say, okay, I want to grab the hour that this departure time was. Okay, so I'm going to add that departure time hour. Okay. And then maybe the hospital arrival time. And then what I'm thinking we can do there is then we can sort of see, okay, well, what hours were the most popular, right? Or most busy. And I think like what's most relevant is like when things depart, you know, because that's like sort of like a resourcing thing, and then arrival time at hospital. And so I want to maybe grab the hour here as well. So the hospital till arrival hour. Okay, so that actually simplifies it down a lot. And then the last thing that I probably want to do here is I want to turn these all into dates, because the actual times of these doesn't really matter as much. So I'm just going to go and turn this to date only. Oh, no, I don't want to add another column. I want these to actually stay in the columns. Right, so departure time. So this is how we can sort of see how busy it is by date. And so I'll go transform, and then I'll go date only. Ambulance arrival time patient, date only. And then time of arrival at hospital, same here. And then honestly, like I'm thinking, does it really matter like this doesn't even this particular one here like isn't actually that important from any analysis that I can see we're going to do. So we could ultimately delete that, right? We still have the information between the hospital to completed, and that's absolutely fine. You know, but is the date totally warranted there? Probably not. You know, probably not going to use it, so I'm just going to get rid of it. And welcome everyone who's sort of joining the call live. But I'm recording this completely live and just working through my report submission. The challenge actually ends today, so definitely get involved. If you haven't already, I'll just quickly show you where that is at. So huge amount of interest and some great submissions so far. So definitely check it out. I'm going to place the link in the chat. Okay. Now I think that this is all good. So I want to just move on from here now. So I've got some good amount of information, and we might get a few errors here. So we just need to fix this up. Okay, so let's just double check. Let's just double check our model, okay? Because we made a few changes, right? So, so we've got an hours table, so that's good. So we've got departure hour. That's fine for now. Yep, we've got. Okay, let's just have a quick look at our data here. Cool, so we've got all the time differences, which is good. And so now we could very quickly aggregate up using, say, like an average or an average X, all of these data points in terms, you know, by all the selections that we make, right? So we could come in here. Looks like we're missing something there. Date of time of call. So let's just have a look. Actually, it doesn't look like it's updated, so I'll just make sure that we're completely updated on our data. Who's actually participated in the challenge? If you're tuning in, have you actually had a chance to participate? I'd be quite interested to know. Okay, so we're going to have to update a few of these calculations, I think, just to make sure that we're on the right track. So total calls is just going to say like how many calls. Now we need to work out how many calls were on a specific date, right? And so to me, this looks okay. So let's have a look. So this is saying by blank. So there must be a relationship problem here. Just going to manage relationships. Some of these things can just be a little bit tricky. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to change this to hold on a second. Date and time of call is a date, right? Aha, I know why it's not, because when these needs to be actually dates, and it's getting confused. Let's just double check what we got here. Okay, so let's just go back now. Is this going to produce a result? Okay, I'm missing something here. I'm not 100% sure why that's not working, but let's just move on and create some other calculations, and we'll come back to it. So we've got let's change some of these, right? Okay, so average time to patient. Okay, and we can probably shorten this down a little bit. So I'll just go AVG. I'll just make this a little bit bigger so we can see it. So now that I've got these seconds right, I can go average time to patient is I can find the time difference and go departure time to patient like so. And then very quickly I can get a whole range of data points here. Okay, so I can get that is actually, I guess that's seconds as well. So what we need to actually be quite aware of is the naming convention. So we want to put minutes here, right? So what I want to do here is I want to divide this by say 60. Yeah. And then that is going to give us, I think it's going to be a lot more readable at that point. So we've got the average time to patient was 15 minutes, okay? And then if we wanted to actually compare this to different, say, codes or something, we could just very quickly, or call handlers, for example, I could go, okay, so how did everyone go from a call handling perspective? And this could be the same from patient to actually hospital as well, which I think is a good insight. So I can come in here, copy this, and then paste it. What would have been another good one, actually, is the difference between the departure and then the time to hospital, but we didn't do that one, but that's okay. Average time to hospital. And then I'm going to change this to time difference patient to hospital. And then I'll do one more, I think. I'll do the time to complete it. Feel free to ask any questions if you've got any. Happy to try and answer anything interesting or related to the challenge. So I'm just going to type this out quickly. Then we want to go average to completion divided by 60, alternative result 0, and enter. And these particular results might look quite good here if we were to say look at it by hospital. And so we want to go average time to completion. So see which hospitals take a long time versus those that don't. And it seems because the data is so random, it's not it's not that distributed, but interesting nonetheless how we actually get to this point, right? Okay, so now I'm really moving on to the visualization, which I'm excited to get into because I think this will be a good one. There's enough for us to use to actually build out a nice visualization here, right? Now, I don't want to make it like too overcomplicated. So it's just a matter of me like having a look around for some inspiration, right? One of the ways I get inspiration is through the Analyst Hub. So we have in the community, we have a whole range of Power BI examples that you can go and have a look at. So I've got a question here, how to compare two different tables to two different sources. So what I'd recommend there is have a look at the webinar that I did last Friday. It's the last video that's been put up on the Enterprise DNA's YouTube channel because I go into data modeling in depth in that particular webinar. Okay, so what I can do here is I can look for a portfolio, right? And then within the portfolio section of the Analyst Hub, I have all of these different ones that I can get inspiration from. And so I'm going to try and pick a relatively easy one for this one. Maybe I'll actually start building and then have a look back. I like the look of these ones here. I mean, maybe this is just a little bit too complicated for what we need, but in terms of the look, I quite like it. So, how it's sort of just got grids, and then down the side, you've got a whole range of things that you can click through. I mean, maybe we could do that per hospital, right? So to me, the main things that we might want to filter on is by hospital, right? By hospital, and then see all of the metrics to do with that particular hospital. What are some other ones we could potentially, like, that's what you got to look for when you're trying to create your visualizations, or the story in which you want to tell of your data, right? Is you want to be able to understand, to know, okay, well, what is the main story I want the user to work through? And do you want to say, do you want to go through it by hospital here, or do you want to go through it by something else? Maybe, to me, patients is a bit, it's a little bit too granular. Call handlers potentially, but maybe, again, there's probably a bit too much data there for, to make sense from a filtering perspective. Dispatch codes, potentially, potentially that's a good one to filter, like place as the main filter in your report. But I'm pretty set, I reckon. Ambulance stations, yep, that's another one. But to me, hospitals. I think hospitals is how we want to tell the story, right? And so hospitals, to me, is what would be a great filtering mechanism down on the left-hand side here, for example. Okay. So let's start playing that out a little bit and see what we can come up with. Okay. So what I'm first of all going to do is create. I'm going to start by creating a color theme that I like, actually. So the first thing I'm going to do is find a nice color theme. I can do that with the App Center. I'm going to come to the color theme generator. This is in the Analyst Hub. Okay. And I'm going to use the color fan here to find some nice colors. Now, I'm going to get a few more colors here. Okay, maybe we'll go with this. No, maybe not. Maybe that's just a bit too out there. Okay, this looks pretty good to me. So now what I'm going to do is go to View, Themes, and then Customize Current Theme. Okay, and then I'm just going to move this to the side so I can quickly copy these across. And then all I'm doing is I'm copying these into here. So, okay. And so it doesn't take too long. You just got to work your way around. And then these are going to become my sort of main colors that I use throughout my report. And so it's a little bit out there, but that's okay. We can make do. And the key with colors is, you don't want to overcomplicate it too much. You want to keep it as simple as possible, only using a few different shades, and that's going to get you, most of what you need. Okay, and then I'm going to go call this positive. Actually, I'll go for darker shades for this. And neutral can be this. So there's a couple of questions just on in terms of like the relationship. So there's a little bit to this one that I built, mainly because I created an hours table and my one date table, which is linked up to a number of different dates inside of here. I just brought it down here to try and make it a bit cleaner so we could actually see all the relationships. But these are all inactive relationships because we have multiple different dates. And you want to be using this technique when you've got lots of different dates in your fact table. That is a really important suggestion. Okay. Now let's have a look at our color theme. Okay, so I'm just going to work through a few things here. I'm going to start working on my visualization because I feel like I just sort of need to make a start on this, and then I can sort of backwards integrate into all these other things later on. Okay, so I'm going to make the background a bit darker. I like a much darker background. And then all of these, I like to I like to make them stand out when I use white lettering. Okay, so I can get rid of the backgrounds and I can turn these to white. And these will just make them just stand out that little bit more, right? I mean, if you go and look at most visualizations out there, it's all very, very similar. And one of the great things you can do now is this: you can go you can actually select this paint roller, right? And it will do a lot of the transformations for you as you click between visuals, which I quite like. And depending on what visual you're clicking, etc. So it just gets, for me, it just got rid of the backgrounds really quickly for me. And that paint roller enables you to change visualizations a lot quicker now, okay? And so all you need to do is really set up one visualization, and then you can change the style of another visualization a lot quicker. So I'll just get rid of these titles. And I think what would be really beneficial from us at Enterprise DNA is if we could maybe create a lot more templates, a lot more design templates. So that's something that I'm really considering at the moment as well. Okay, so what I want to do here, right? Just get rid of this background as well. And we need to change the color of this. Okay, so now I've got to find a way for me to create that simple, filtering mechanism based on the selection of a hospital, right? Okay, so I'm going to first of all work that out, and then I'll place all my visualizations next to it. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go none for my style. I'm also going to get rid of these particular things here. Okay. Then, because I'm going to use this as my turn off the grid, and then I'm going to use these values as my mechanism for filtering. Okay, then I'll go alternative color, and then what I'm going to do is this. I want bigger distance between my values. Okay, so we can make this a little bit bigger. So we can change the row padding here a little bit, just to make these a little bit wider, right? Maybe we'll do a little bit more even. Okay, and so what I could do, like what the user can do now, is they can highlight this, and then that's going to highlight the entire page. Okay, and then what I might do here is just insert a like a rectangle, like so. I might actually maybe I'll select this here. Okay, maybe we'll actually go with some sort of like rounded curves this time around. Okay, and then I'm going to change the fill. I'm going to put a background on it instead. And here we'll just go a slightly different shade. Oh, actually, no, it can't be background because we want the rounded curves, right? So let's just go with a darker fill like so. Okay, and no outline. And then we want rounded. Okay, well, wow. So there's a lot of different selections you can make now, which is pretty cool. This is relatively new, which is great. Okay, that's cool. So what I'm going to do finally is I'm going to put this to the back. So let's send this to back. And then Okay, so there's probably like some improvements we can make to this, but I think this is probably fine for now. Make this a little bit bigger, maybe. Maybe the shape, maybe the rectangle is actually a better look. Just looks a little bit more cleaner. Okay, so what are some interesting things? Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on and have a look at some of the interesting things from that we want to look at from here, right? So the first thing is the amount of calls. So this is the total amount of calls, right? So we need to sort of understand, okay, how many calls are coming in a specific time frame, but this one is not working, which is kind of weird. Total calls. Let's just maybe write it out again and see if we can come up with what's going on here. Use relationship, dates, and then let's find just use this one here. Let's see if we can link it up through that one there. I'm going to just aim for like one page here, right? Because I don't think that we need multiple pages if we don't need to do multiple pages if it's just not necessary. Okay, so this is now showing the amount of calls by date, right? So this is the total amount of calls by date. So probably what we want to do now is actually look at this by date. So I'll just bring this in and actually have a look at what calls are coming in on specific dates. Okay. And here we're just going to find the appropriate, like, I think that this is probably a better visualization than a chart like this for now. So what I'm going to do here is use the paint roller, which I think is an awesome addition. I can't believe it took so long to actually create. You find the paint formatter or the formatter button, but see how quickly I can adjust the different visualizations, which is cool. And just remember that this down here is how we are going to click through to the different insights easier, right? We can click on different hospitals and it's how we're going to see the different results by hospital, right? And some are going to be busier than others, obviously. And we can also change the time frame easily here as well. So maybe we don't want as long a time frame. Okay, so let's just have a quick play around some of these other insights, right? And also the forum had a brief, right? So let's just also have a look at the back of the forum and make sure that we, now that we've sort of set everything up, what else we can do to fulfill the brief here. Okay, so time between call and ambulance departure, time between ambulance to patient, number of jobs, does the dish code affect the timings? Does the call handler have an impact? Do certain hospitals have issues? What does the data say about the ambulance station? Okay, so I mean, really, that's all we're doing there is we're bringing in different different data points. So a lot can be done, I think, in sort of a matrix or a table potentially. So all we're going to do is say add these particular things in here. So average time to hospital, average time to patient. So let's just have a play around here. So that can be very quickly reviewed in this sort of with that sort of insight. We could almost create a matrix, right? But we'll leave it as this for now. Yeah, I think that I think that's all right. So let's just change this format quickly first. we can always change the titles to make these a little bit easier to read as well. So for example, we can go average patients. Let's make it smaller. And we can have a better overarching header, average hospital. So it doesn't take up as much room. Average completion. Okay. So I think that is pretty good. Now, the only other thing I would do here, right, is I would definitely place in some conditional formatting here, and potentially we can go with some data bars. And I'm definitely going to make this visualization look a little bit better shortly. But this is all good for now as we're sort of just laying everything out. I'll change this color just slightly. One of the things we also want to do is we probably want to refine the amount of dates that are actually showing up here. I just realized that's something we could do quite quickly and easily. So I'm going to move this one up here, and I'm going to call this one the dispatch code, so protocol name. So we'll just change that. Okay, I'll get rid of the word wrap. Get rid of the word wrap here. And we could probably, what we could probably do here is we could really change what actually shows inside of here. Because I'm looking at that, having this protocol 1, protocol 2, etc. Maybe that's just like a little bit too much information. So what we could do is this. I'll show you a really good trick for fixing something like this up inside of or just improving the lookup tables in your data sources. Okay, so I can come in here. I'm going to go dispatch codes. I'm going to go add column from examples, and check this out. I'm going to call this the protocol. Protocol. Then I'm going to start typing this out. Abdominal. And just like that, it simplifies all of those particular columns down. I don't even do anything fancy in terms of like a formula or anything like that. And then I can use this inside of my table now. I don't have to use that entire name, right? Because it's gonna give me another dimension out here. Okay, so I'm just going to switch this over now, so I can put in protocol here. try and get these a bit lined up a little bit better, I think. Okay. So it's providing us some decent information, right? So far. Now, the other ones, so I think all of these insights are important as well. But what I might do here is I might actually might actually place them inside of a card that looks a bit more like this. So I can just sort of add a number of these all at once. And then we can have a play around with the insights within here. I mean, it's not fancy, but this is it's effective, right? And so I'm going to have to change up the values here a little bit. So we need to turn this to white, I think. Cool. Okay, so this is going to give us enough information there. Now, the other insight that I think we discovered that would be good to showcase as well, this was using the hours table. So we tried to find an hours column that was text, I think. We tried to create a text column, right? Okay, and so I have a question about how you can get the resources. This is all about, this is a challenge submission. So this is my Power BI Challenge 14 submission. So definitely check out the link I placed in the chat earlier. This is where you can get the download of the data and have a play around, just like I'm playing around here, okay? And then I can put the calls in those particular hours. Yes, as I just mentioned. Cool, okay, so this in itself could look okay as like a chart like so. The distribution is not that great on this, honestly, which is a bit annoying, but yeah, it's sort of like a pretty wide distribution. And I think there's some blanks because there's some data there's some that don't even have times on them. But this from an insight perspective is pretty good as well. So what I would do here is I would just use the paint roller. Man, this paint roller saves you so much time. It's crazy. And then what I'm going to do, just to clean things up a little bit, is I'm just going to get rid of the blanks as well. So I mean, this isn't really advisable because you want to make sure that you are figuring out why they're not blank. But in this particular case, I just want to move on and create my visualization, right? So okay, so so this is not looking too bad so far. What I probably want to do here is just improve my visualization just a touch, right? Okay, so I've got that I can change my time frame here. I can see how many calls have happened over that time. One of the things I'm going to do, this is something I do a lot, by the way, is you see here that this date range is much wider than the actual date range of the data. And that's because my date table that I created was overlaying how much overlaying like the dates that I saw in the actual raw file. And that's pretty common. And so what I do to actually combat this is and make it a little bit more dynamic is like in the in the analyst hub, I have this, and I've put it in the community. I have this code hook here called within range binary. Okay, so it's a little bit of simple, like it's just like a formula pattern. I copy the code, and so I don't even need to sort of really remember it myself. I just remember the technique, and then I leverage the analyst hub to really scale my efforts. And so then I come to the date table, okay, and then I add a new column inside of the date table. So I'll go new column. And I'll paste that in, okay? And then all I need to do is go and find the date range that I want here, okay? So I'm gonna go, the min date is my departure date, okay? My departure date. And then the max date I want is, what is the very max date? It's sort of like the completion, now because we didn't actually have, I got rid of that completion one. So it's probably hospital arrival time, right? Hospital arrival time. Yeah. Okay. And so basically that's just giving me a min and a max date. And then what's happening is I'm placing a true and false inside of that range. And then what this enables me to do is I can come back into my data set here, because you see there's a range of falses, because a lot of these dates don't actually sit in the raw data. And then what I can do in here is in my filters, I can find that within range, that binary within range field that I created, place it into here. Sorry. So I just need to drag this in here, and then I select true. And so you see here that we've only got 366 days worth of data. And then what happens then is that now my filters, etc., are all going to automatically, throughout all of my reports, they're always going to be just the date range that we have data in. Okay. So when I select all of this out the wide here, it's going to be every data point, right? Every data point we have. Did that actually change? Hold on, is this actually coming from my dates table? Yes, it is, yep. Okay. Okay, cool. Yep, that seems to be working now. Okay, so I think honestly, like, I'm pretty close to what I want to maybe submit. A few things that I would maybe do here, right, is I would just make it more obvious what users can do, right? So I'm going to I'm actually going to get rid of this particular title here, okay? I'm going to hide it. And then what I'm going to do instead is this. Is I'm going to put a nice text piece of, like a text value up here that can be used easily to tell the user what they should be doing. Okay, so I'm going to go insert and then text box. I'm going to say select for hospital. Select your hospital for evaluation. Okay. I'll just increase the size, and we want to turn this white, and then get rid of the background. Maybe bold it as well. And then another thing I could probably do here, right, is go and find like an icon for hospitals. And so one thing, I've got a subscription to Flaticon. And so let's go Flaticon, and let's find a hospital. Let's find a nice hospital icon, because I think that would actually work not neatly in there. So go hospital. And so we just want to make sure that we actually get a white one. Okay, I've got to log in, sorry. So we just want to make this white, right? Sorry, she's working a bit slow. Okay, I think this look nice actually. So then I'm going to come in here. I'm going to go insert image. Just going to find that image. Like so. Okay, so it's already starting to look a lot more professional, I think. And then maybe I'll just move these over just a touch. Okay, and then what are some other things that I can do here? Maybe I might want to bold these particular things down here. So let's see if we can do just that. So yes, we can. We can change this to bold. Right. Cool. And then some of the other things that I might do, let's just have a look. Is let's work in some of our grids, right? Okay. Let's work in some of our grids. Oh, it's just a little bit annoying. So I can perfect these later on. I'm just trying to get them as close to useful as I possibly can. Okay. Just adds that little bit, like, a little bit more professionalism in the way that your report actually like the insights that are showcased, in my view, right? When you actually use just a simple grid technique, just makes it so much easier on the eyes to actually focus in on what matters, right? And it's actually a very, very simple technique to actually implement. Okay, last one here. And then I think I'm going to change some of the colors. And then we can evaluate, okay, is there any better way for us to actually showcase some of this data? It's going to change the color of these ones here, actually. And change the color of this one as well. Nope, that needs to be a little bit lighter, I think. And then maybe the thing to do is actually change the color of this one a little bit more. So have this as sort of like slightly different color so it stands out. Okay. So now what is this actually showing us? So we've got some the ability to click on, say, a specific hospital and then be able to see very quickly insights for that particular hospital, right? We need to make sure that we've got the interactions working properly. So one of the things I might do is just adjust that slightly. I think that is fine. That's all we need to do. Right, so I can go Auckland here, like so. So I think, I mean, it's pretty, this solves a lot of the insights that we might wanted to have a look at, right? But there's still plenty more we can do. There's still plenty more that we can do. One of the other things I might do here just quickly is I like to have an icon that maybe sits up in the title here. I think that always like makes things stand out a little bit better. So we'll just go here. Maybe we'll choose an ambulance. This one looks pretty good. Okay, so I might bring my work to an end here and maybe just put some finishing touches on myself. But the key here is that this is going to go into my submission for the challenge. And so really recommend getting involved as well if you can. Any questions on the challenge if you're on the call right now? Anything in regards to how to participate, etc. What I might do is I'm going to change this up as well. Category. Okay, and then I'm just going to make this a little bit more bold. So I'm literally just playing around here, trying to make things stand out a little bit more. But hopefully you've enjoyed sort of just seeing my process, how I go about things like this. And nothing like too complicated here, right? Like I could get a lot more, tricky with my visualization, etc. Definitely. But in this particular case, I'm just trying to keep it simple. Going to get rid of the totals there. We don't need them in this particular case because we just want to look at it by each individual metric here. Sometimes I don't love this scrolling as well, so that's honestly something to have a look at. But it's really about making decisions around what suits your visualization the best, right? Let's just change up the slicer. So the slider color. I want to make this a little bit different. Okay, maybe we could change the color of this actually. The only other thing potentially is this. Do we need, maybe it's better if we have it like this. I'll send this to the back as well. Goodness me, what's going on? Finally, okay. Then we can just have a play around with this, make it fit a little bit better. Then maybe as well, just to build this out, make this, fill this out as a little bit better. Could go like this. Grid. Cool. Okay. So I think I'm going to round off there. I think I've gone for long enough. How long have I actually gone for? Maybe an hour or so. And then what I'm going to do is maybe just finish it off, and then I'm going to post it very soon to the forum. So definitely check out, if you're listening to this call, the actual challenge itself. You can actually get involved in the challenge itself. You can be a member, you can be a non-member, and you can actually win a few prizes if you actually take it out. So definitely check out all the submissions so far. We've had maybe 20 to 30 or so, and so I'm sure a few more will come in very, very soon. And I think you'll enjoy. I know you'll get a lot out of it, and you'll learn a lot from collaborating with all of those in our community, and also a whole range of our experts. Okay, thanks for tuning in, and look forward to seeing your comments and feedback on this particular video and in the challenge itself. So watch out for far more updates on all of these great submissions in the near future. Okay, take care, everyone. Look forward to next time. See ya.